Hello, everyone. My name is Amy Ramsdell. I am the division administrator for what was formerly the Motor Carrier Transportation Division. We've had that name for over 20 years, but our agency is going through some change. Thank you. And so as we move forward and as we prepare for a 21st century transportation system, we recognize that the users of the system, yourselves, passenger vehicles and others, are going to be looking for us to change and evolve along with them. And so in order to do that, our director and our commission reorganized our agency in December. And so with that, some of us had a name change, but don't worry, no identity crisis here. We're going to keep doing the same thing that we've always been doing, which is serving motor carriers. They did change our name. And so we are under, ODOT now has 4 assistant directors as opposed to a multitude of division administrators that report to our director. And so each one of us was grouped underneath one of those assistant directors based on our primary functions. So we primarily do compliance and taxation. So we were put under our Assistant Director for Revenue, Finance, and Compliance, partnered up with the Department of Motor Vehicles. So the 2 entities that you probably worked with the most in ODOT are now under one Assistant Director. We also have our Assistant Director for Government Relations and Communications, and then Operations, which has all things transportation planning, maintenance, and project delivery and safety. When we say safety division, that's our transportation safety division. If you see advertisements about road safety, any work that we do with local police, some of our seatbelt checks or speed checks or other things that's funded by the feds, that runs through our transportation safety division, and that administrator is Troy Costalis. Not a whole lot, just a name change for us. We're going to keep doing everything that we do. There were a few things within our division that required some engineering that's going over to that 4th column on the right. People are going to take care of our systems out on the highway for us instead of us trying to do it ourselves. That'll be more efficient. We'll get upgrades to our scales, to the asphalt as you cross the scales by the highway division. Hopefully we can save money by doing that, which means the money that you're paying in white mile tax goes back onto the road. We will be getting part of the rail safety inspectors. They will now work alongside folks just like Dave, or just like Abe, under our safety section. And so that's part of the reason for our name change. But you shouldn't expect to see any differences in service. Our hope is that this actually makes us more efficient, and that perhaps we will provide better services because we're able to align with our partners within that column. Does anybody have any questions? I'm hoping that you don't even see much of a difference from day to day. Hoping not. Okay. With that, I think Abe is going to talk a little bit about our rulemaking for electronic logging devices. We are working with FMCSA to become compliant with the ELD mandate. We have until the fall of this year to adopt ELDs for intra-state commerce. I'll let him take that piece of the presentation, and then we'll all be available after both he and Audrey wrap up for questions.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. All right, as Amy just mentioned, the ELD mandate, currently right now, if you're an intrastate carrier doing intrastate, working intrastate, we do have an exception from ELDs currently. However, April 1st, to get in line with the feds, on April 1st, we're going to eliminate that exception. So starting April 1st, we're going to start doing enforcement. If you're required to have an ELD and you don't have one, then you're going to get a violation. We are going to do a soft enforcement, and that's for about 6 months. So probably till about the end of September, beginning of October, because we have to get in line with the feds by October. We're going to do soft enforcement. So we're not going to be placing anybody out of service. We'll probably be handing out some brochures, things, trying to get everybody up online with this. Okay. Remember, there's still other exceptions that you might need. If you're a local carrier and your CDL guys are staying within 100 air miles and returning back within 12 hours, you're not even required a log. You're required a time card that shows start time, stop time, and total hours. Also, if you're a non-CDL vehicle, or if you have non-CDL vehicles, those individuals get 150 air miles, and they just have to return back to the same location within the end of the day. They're not required to have a log. They just require to keep the time card back at the business. Anytime they fail that exemption, they're required to do a log. Or another ELD exception, as long as you're not required to do more than 8 logs in any 30-day period, you don't have to run an ELD. So remember that rule out there too. Of course, you got some ag exemption rules, okay, from logs, other things out there too. So remember all those different exceptions. Older trucks, older than 1999 and older. So just remember those, okay? Also for ELDs, we're still out roadside, we're still seeing, we've been in the mandate for a couple years now, and we're still seeing a lot of drivers who still don't know how to operate their device as far as uploading it to us. So one of the things I ask carriers out there is, this is my question to you. Do you like a 30-minute inspection, or do you like the 1-hour inspection? You all want the 30-minute inspection, don't you? Okay? If you want the 30-minute inspection, and I'm kind of pleading out to y'all is if you can help us out a little bit. How many devices, how many ELD devices or companies out there that make ELDs? How many are out there? A lot. Over 400. Okay? Imagine yourself as an inspector roadside, and a driver pulls in and you're like, hey, I need to look at your log. I need you to upload it to eRods for us so we can go ahead and look at your log. And they're like, well, I don't know how to do it. Here, you do it. Okay? Think about me handing you a different cell phone or a different device every hour for you to try to figure that out. Okay? It takes us time. All right? So my hint to you, if you like the shorter inspections, help us a little bit out. Make sure your drivers are fully trained on how to upload that file. All right? First of all, carriers can choose between telematics or local. Okay? What telematics is you can send that file through what's web services or email, which it goes to web services, and we're able to go on our computers and pull that file down and examine it fairly quickly. If you're using local, okay, a lot of us don't have the option to do local, so that's what we got to do. And local is Bluetooth or what's the other option? Bluetooth or what's that? USB. Thank you. Bluetooth or USB. Most of us don't have those USB devices, and we can't Bluetooth the devices due to security issues. So if we run into that issue, okay, guess what? It's going to take us longer because then we have to look at the device. We got to go to the device. Imagine yourself on a little iPhone 5, okay, looking at somebody's log, trying to scan through that. It takes time, okay? And that's your time that you're not out on the road. So I always would recommend carriers to be able to use web services. Train your drivers how to upload that, okay? Make sure you have the current card in the vehicle to how to upload. We're running into a lot, everybody had the AOBRDs a month ago, and they haven't replaced those cards. They're still AOBRD cards. So when we go to look at the device, trying to figure out how to upload it, they saw the AOBRD cards, the true cards are updated. Make sure the driver is trained. I imagine a day where I can walk up and say, hey, I'm going to do an inspection on it. And the driver's next words out of their mouth says, hey, what's your inspector code? Well, it's AP0193. And they're like, great, you should have the file on it. See how quickly that is? Instead of me going up there and having to look through the device, trying to figure out how to upload it, getting the card out, reading through it, trying to figure out how to upload it, we just added another 10, 15 minutes onto the inspection. So that's my sales pitch to you all. Any questions? All right, I guess it's Audrey's turn.
I'd like to thank Glowstone for the opportunity to shut this thing down now, talking about tax collection. Actually, I was asked to speak about any new or legislatively mandated or mandates that come out. I don't have anything new, but I have some recent news, and you probably have experienced the need to, or the lack of a need to carry a weight receipt anymore. So, House Bill 2592 that passed last year eliminated the need for a weight receipt. That normally came with a CAD card. The weight receipt went away, as did the fee for it. We've gone mostly electronic and electronic enrollment. In addition to that, House Bill 2017 that passed a few years ago mandated increases in taxes to come in 2-year intervals. So effective January 1st, 2020, we have new tax rates. They did increase about 5% across the board. If you go to our .gov site or the Oregon Trucking Online site, right on our homepage, we have links to any of the schedules if you need those moving forward. And that's all I've got, unless you want more.
They don't usually give me the mic. I like to talk. But we have a customer service survey coming up. I'm going to put a plug in for it. We send it out to individuals who've had an inspection, who've been weighed. It's a random selection of carriers. Please provide your feedback, especially when it comes to how we communicate. If you want to receive more information, less information, the timeliness of the information, how we share that with you. Do you want it in written form? Do you want an email? Do you podcast? What can we do that would be helpful and meaningful? That's what we're looking for when we do that survey. I want to thank everyone who participated in OTA's safety meeting last spring. We implemented a new emergency text alert for road closures due to fire and inclement weather. So we had an opportunity to test that out. We're looking for feedback on that as well, and if we need to expand that. But again, part of the changes that are going on in our organization are really truly to take more of an outward focus, take a look at what the individuals who actually use the system, what they want, what they need in order to be successful and to help Oregon's economy thrive. So your feedback really does matter. I really, really appreciate this site-specific feedback on our green light system. We'll go back and look at that. But if you have other things like that, let me know. And yes, if somebody uses your logbooks to try to give you a ticket for speeding, we don't have the authority to do that. I want to know that as well.